Imagine it, the 2025 Emmy Awards. Glittering gowns, flashing cameras, and that unmistakable buzz of anticipation that only Hollywood knows how to create. Fans scream for their favorite stars, the paparazzi jostle for the perfect shot, and producers backstage shuffle nervously as the world tunes in live. The red carpet is already a frenzy, until a ripple of confusion sweeps across the crowd. A murmur, a pause, and then chaos. Why? Because Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex herself, suddenly arrives, completely uninvited. But before we continue, please subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell for more updates. At first, people thought it was a misunderstanding. Maybe she was supposed to present, maybe a surprise cameo, but then the whispers began. She wasn't on the guest list. Who let her through security? Why is she here? Within moments, the scene spiraled into something Hollywood will never forget. Boos echoing across the carpet, photographers lowering their cameras, and event staff scrambling as Meghan tried to pose. And just when things couldn't get worse, witnesses claim she was actually scolded, told off in front of everyone, by an Emmy official who reportedly asked her to leave. But how did it get to this point? What went so wrong that a woman who once lit up the world stage ended up being booed at one of television's most prestigious events? That's where the story gets explosive. The arrival no one expected. One of the strangest parts about Meghan's unannounced arrival was how casual it seemed at first. Eyewitnesses said she appeared confident, smiling brightly as though she belonged there. She wore a sleek black gown, dripping with diamonds, styled to perfection. Meghan seemed determined to make this moment hers. Yet the crowd wasn't buying it. Some fans gasped, others jeered. Within seconds, the atmosphere turned frosty. It wasn't the glamour of Hollywood anymore. It was raw, unfiltered rejection. Now, here's the kicker. The Emmys are tightly controlled. Every guest, from A-list actors to behind-the-scenes producers, is vetted and pre-registered. Security is airtight. So how did Meghan even make it onto that carpet? Speculation ran wild. Some suggested she pulled strings with a contact inside. Others claimed she simply bypassed checks, banking on her royal title to do the talking. But one thing was clear. This was not planned, and it was not welcome. And that's when the booing started. Why the boos hit harder than ever. Being booed is brutal for any public figure. But for Meghan Markle, the symbolism cut deep. Once celebrated as the modern, glamorous duchess who brought a breath of fresh air to the royal family, she was now being rejected by the very industry she had once called home. Let's rewind for a second. Meghan wasn't just any guest at the Emmys. This was her old stomping ground. Years before becoming the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan had been a working actress, best known for her role in Suits. The Emmys represented the pinnacle of television, the very world she had once fought to break into. For her to return now, uninvited, and be booed, it wasn't just public humiliation. It was almost poetic irony. But why such a harsh reaction? Why didn't the crowd just shrug it off? Many say the answer lies in Meghan's long-standing reputation battles. Accusations of seeking the spotlight, controversial interviews, strained ties with the royal family, and rumors of strained relationships in Hollywood itself. The boos weren't just about the Emmys. They were years of public frustration boiling over. And that's what makes this moment so fascinating. The scolding heard around the world. Here's where things get even wilder. According to multiple reports, Meghan wasn't just booed. She was actually confronted.
Reverse happened.
Witnesses describe a tense exchange between Meghan and an Emmy official. The whispers grew louder as people leaned in, trying to catch what was being said. Then, shockingly, Meghan appeared to be told, "You are not supposed to be here." Some claim she tried to brush it off, insisting she had every right to attend. Others say she became visibly flustered, glancing around as the cameras rolled and the boos grew louder. But one thing is undeniable. This wasn't the glamorous Hollywood comeback she may have envisioned. It was a very public scolding, and it left the Duchess standing alone, caught between her determination to shine and a crowd that had already decided they weren't on her side. A bigger story than just one night. Now pause for a moment. Because this isn't just about Meghan Markle crashing the Emmys. It's about something larger, about image, ambition, and the fine line between admiration and rejection. Think about it. How does someone go from being celebrated as a Hollywood princess, then literally marrying into royalty, only to be booed by the very people who once cheered her on? It's not just a fall from grace, it's a cautionary tale. The Emmy incident was a microcosm of Meghan's broader battle for acceptance. Her story has always walked that razor's edge between admiration and criticism, between star power and scandal. And on that night in 2025, all of it came to a head under the bright lights of the red carpet. But here's the real question. Was this a one-off humiliation or the start of an even bigger unraveling? Cliffhanger. Because as shocking as the booing and scolding were, what happened next behind the scenes was even more dramatic. Whispers of heated phone calls, stunned celebrities, and even security interventions paint a picture that goes far beyond what the cameras showed. So what exactly unfolded once Meghan was ushered away from the carpet? And why are insiders now calling it one of the most awkward scandals in Emmy history? Backstage drama. The aftermath of Meghan's uninvited arrival. If the boos on the red carpet were shocking, what unfolded backstage was downright explosive. Because once Meghan Markle was gently, but firmly, removed from the spotlight, Hollywood insiders say the real fireworks began. Picture it. The chaotic hum of production crews, security staff whispering into earpieces, celebrities milling about in glittering gowns and tuxedos. The Emmys backstage is normally buzzing with nerves and excitement. But that night, all anyone could talk about was the Duchess who wasn't supposed to be there. One producer reportedly muttered, "This is going to be a PR nightmare." Another insider described the vibe as tense but gossipy, with staff passing updates like wildfire. Within minutes, Meghan had gone from uninvited guest to the night's biggest headline. But what exactly was happening behind those velvet curtains? Heated exchanges and security concerns. According to multiple accounts, Meghan was stopped once more by security staff after being guided off the carpet. What started as a polite but firm exchange allegedly escalated into something far more awkward. "Ma'am, you are not on the list," one guard is said to have repeated, his voice low but unwavering. Meghan, in contrast, was described as visibly frustrated, her smile slipping into something tighter. Now, here's where the drama gets juicier. Some witnesses claim Meghan pulled out her phone, making what looked like urgent calls. Was she phoning her agent? A Hollywood contact? Prince Harry himself? No one knows for sure. But what's clear is that she was determined not to back down without a fight. And that's when whispers started circulating. Was Meghan really scolded again backstage? Some say yes, pointing to Emmy coordinators who looked flustered as they motioned toward the exit. Others insist it was handled discreetly. Either way, the optics were brutal. Security guards, frantic staff, and a Duchess who simply wouldn't leave quietly. But here's the kicker. This wasn't just about one woman showing up uninvited. To Hollywood insiders, it became a symbol of something much bigger. Hollywood's divided reaction. Behind the scenes, reactions among celebrities and producers were divided. Some rolled their eyes, dismissing Meghan's appearance as just another publicity stunt. One actor allegedly quipped, "Of course she showed up. It's Meghan, we should have expected it." Others, however, felt a pang of sympathy. After all, the entertainment world is ruthless. The line between beloved star and outcast is razor thin, and once the tide turns, it turns fast. Still, the louder voices seemed to side with frustration. "She hijacked the night," one director reportedly said. "It wasn't about TV anymore. It was about Meghan." Think about that for a moment. The Emmys are supposed to celebrate the best in television, but Meghan's surprise arrival stole the spotlight from every winner, nominee, and carefully planned moment. For many in Hollywood, that was unforgivable. But the real question bubbling up was this: why did she do it? What was Meghan hoping to achieve by walking onto that carpet uninvited? Theories that set the internet on fire. Within hours, social media had already exploded with speculation. Everyone had a theory, and none of them were flattering. 1. The comeback attempt. Some argued Meghan wanted to stage a Hollywood comeback. With Suits enjoying a streaming renaissance in 2024, maybe she thought the Emmys were the perfect stage to remind the world of her acting roots. 2. Attention overload, or others insisted it was a classic case of attention-seeking. Meghan knew the cameras would be rolling and the internet would be watching. Why not create a moment that guaranteed headlines? 3. Miscommunication. A smaller group suggested there might have been a genuine mix-up. Perhaps Meghan thought she was invited, or maybe someone close to her misled her. But given the security protocols of the Emmys, this theory didn't gain much traction. Whatever the motive, the optics were the same. Meghan Markle, once the darling of Hollywood and the royal family alike, was booed, scolded, and trending for all the wrong reasons. And Hollywood noticed. The Whisper Network. What most viewers never see is the power of Hollywood's Whisper Network. Backstage at the Emmys, reputation is everything. A single moment can either elevate a career or sink it. And insiders say Meghan's stunt became the talking point of the night. Not just in whispers, but in full-on debates. Did she really think she could just show up? One producer asked incredulously. She's going to regret this, another warned. Even stars who weren't directly involved had opinions. Some tweeted cryptic messages about uninvited drama, while others posted subtle eye-roll emojis. It was enough to fuel endless gossip blogs for days. But beyond the gossip, a more serious question loomed. Had Meghan just burned the last of her Hollywood bridges? The celebrity cold shoulder. Perhaps the most telling part of the night wasn't the boos themselves, but who didn't come to Meghan's defense. Normally, in Hollywood, celebrities rally around each other during awkward moments. If someone trips, someone else helps them up. If a scandal breaks, allies rush to offer supportive statements. But that night, Meghan stood largely alone. No big-name actor tweeted in her defense. No director offered words of sympathy. Even former Suits castmates, some of whom were actually in attendance, stayed conspicuously silent. It was as though the industry had quietly agreed. This was Meghan's mess, and no one else wanted to touch it. And that silence spoke volumes, a reminder of past scandals. To many Hollywood insiders, the Emmy fiasco wasn't an isolated incident. It was the latest chapter in what they saw as a long pattern. From controversial interviews to alleged feuds with the royal family, Meghan had often been accused of courting controversy. This isn't new, one industry veteran shrugged. It's just louder now because it happened on live TV. But here's where things get even more intriguing. Some claim the boos weren't just about Meghan herself. They were about everything she represented. Ambition, rebellion, the clash between royalty and celebrity culture. Which begs the question. Was this humiliation inevitable? Cliffhanger. Because what happened after the Emmys may be even more damaging than the event itself. From strained friendships to calls from angry Hollywood executives, Meghan's night didn't end when she walked off that carpet. It only got messier. So how did the Duchess handle the fallout once the cameras stopped rolling? And why do some insiders believe this moment could mark the final chapter of her Hollywood story? That's exactly where we're headed next.